Thank you for joining me. This is some information for you who are interested in things Windrush. Although this doesn't involve steamship Windrush, it involves SS Auriga, A-U-R-I-G-A, which was from that generation, which landed in Plymouth on the 25th of March 1955. It left Kingston, Jamaica, possibly February 1955, because I've got my father's passport, who was on that ship, Ivan Smith, who was on that ship from Kingston, although he's not from Kingston, he was from Roswell in Clarendon. And I found the list of passengers from that ship, although this is probably just one sheet of the passengers, because they go from passenger number 136 to passenger 183. So here's a list, because I remember my dad always telling me that he was on the same ship as Tessa Sanderson's father, whose name was Verley. Well, I'll read this list out here, and those of you whose parents were from Jamaica, they're a great source of information, because everything what both my mother and my father told me, exactly spot on. Going back generations, I found it, all the information is online. And also, when they came here, notice British passports, because this was before 1962, so Jamaica wasn't independent. So it says British subject, citizen of the United Kingdom and colonies. So, you know, because the World Cup has recently gone, I'm recording this in August 2026. There was a lot of bad sentiments towards the black players, not just here, not just the French team or the team, but the British one, the English team. They were saying that the black players aren't English, but that defies logic, because if you can only be English if you're white, this is not my logic, but this is the logic of the racist, then what about if you were white and you're born, say, in America, Australia, Canada, New Zealand? By their logic, if you're white, then you couldn't be one of those. But that's not my sentiment. But so when my parents and his generation came here, they were British subject. And I remember him telling me that Michael Foot's brother, Hugh Foot and Dingle Foot, were governors of Jamaica. And it says here, Hugh Foot, the governor, H-U-G-H, Hugh Mackintosh Foot, Knight, Commander of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George, Knight, Commander of the Royal Victoria Order, Officer of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, Captain General and Governor-in-Chief in and over the island of Jamaica and its dependencies, request and require in the name of Her Majesty all those whom it may concern to allow the bearer of passport of pass freely without let or allow or hindrance, and to enter him every assistance and protection of which he may send in need, given at King's House in the island of Jamaica on the 16th of February 1952. So that's when he got the passport. And so the list of passengers, they are from 136 down to 183. So number 136 was Mr. William Headland. He was born the 23rd of April 1921, and he went to 92 Fentman Street, London. There was Bernice Gordon, born the 3rd of August to 1903. She went to 192 Ballsfield Road, London. There was Eunice Louza, L-O-U-Z-A, born the 8th of April 1933. She went to 31 Coburn Road, London. She was a dressmaker. William Headland was a printer. Bernice Gordon was a dressmaker as well. There was Joseph Walton, born the 11th of July 1908. 30 Anglesey, London. He was a farmer. There was then my father, Ivan Smith, 8th of March 1923, went to 135 Waterloo Road, a farmer. 135 Waterloo Road was where his brother, Leonard Dunstan, who was from Burnt Savannah in St Elizabeth, was from. Although my father was from Roswell, Clarendon, and his brother St Elizabeth, it's because their mother was from Burnt Savannah, St Elizabeth, and my father was born after they moved to Clarendon. And then there was Augustus White, the 1st of November 1916, of 20-something Field Road, Cannon, Birmingham. He was a farmer. There was Arthur Edwards, 9th of October 1924. He went to 30 Anglesey Road, Suffolk. He was a sideman, whatever that is. There was Pearl Brown, 13th of December 1912, 123 Battersea Road, London, it just says worker. There was Ivy Wright, 24th of March 1928, a dressmaker who went to Plymouth. Oscar Dawes, D-A-W-E-S, 7th of the August 1926, who went to 114 Glencoe Road, London, who was a carpenter. Lascelles Grant, who was born the 24th of August 1935, who went to 8 Ansby Road, Ansby Chamber, London, who was a clerk. There was Richard Malcolm, born 5/7/14, 1 Elmwood Avenue, Huddersfield, who was a mechanic. There was Daisy Morrison, 24/3/33, 14 Stafford Road, Hodden, who was a dressmaker. Aston Morrison, 23/3/26, who went to 114 Glencoe Road, who was a carpenter. I'm not sure if that was a brother. Aston and Daisy Morrison. Then there was Naomi Gordon, 23/3/24, Plymouth. She was a domestic. And it just says Plymouth. When it just says Plymouth, I presume they just don't know the address where they went to, but they just docked at Plymouth. So there was Rudolph Campbell, 10/1/29, 225 Albert Road, Birmingham, and he was a chauffeur. I'm not sure if that's the same as a chauffeur or a driver. Canuto Miles, 4/7/04, 240 White Horse Road, Croydon, and he was planted, that's what it says, planted on the sheet. There was Vincent Green, 13/12/27, went to Plymouth, and he was a carpenter. George Francis, 24/7/24, 88 Walbrook Road, Derby, who's a farmer. Sarah Martin, 7/3/35, who was a nurse, docked at Plymouth. Ivy Jones, 3/1/33, Plymouth, who was a nurse. Noel Scarlett, 27/10/1911, 38 Bangor Road, Nottingham, a carpenter. Stanley Bennett, 18/3/1912, 128 Prosser Street, Wolverhampton, who was a labourer. So any Bennetts, Prosser Street, Park Village, do you know them? Carlton Dyer, Carlton with a K, 10/10/27, 15 Fewthy Road, Birmingham, who was a mechanic. Albert Hall, 20th of March 1910, Alberth Hall, 1910, the dressmaker. Elardo Saddlebar, 2/5/1920, who was a tailor who went to Plymouth. Sylvester Burnett, 14/6/1924, 171 Waterloo Road, Wolverhampton, who was a barber. Hezekiah Stewart, 4/1/1910, 18 Paget Street, who was a cultivator. Vivian Bromley, 17/3/24, who was a mason, 171 Waterloo Road. Byron Bromley was also a mason, don't know if that's his brother, 10/10/35, 171 Waterloo Road. There was Alfonso Barnett, 25/8/1935, 171 Waterloo Road, who was a farmer. Is that Charles Barnett's father? Mercelda Ebanks, I don't know if that's a flaggerman, St Elizabeth Ebanks. That's Mercelda Ebanks, 23/11/1937, a dressmaker who landed at Plymouth. Clenford with a C, not Glenford with a G. Clenford Ebanks, 4/9/31/36 Beaker Road, Stafford, who's a farmer. Nathaniel Ebanks, 25.529, 8 High Street, West Bromwich, who was a farmer. Noel Wint, 13.725, Plymouth, farmer. Burley Sanderson, that's Tessa's father, 28.8, 1912, Plymouth, farmer. So he doesn't say his address, but we know he did go to Wensfield, Wolverhampton. Enos Boucher, 23.335, Plymouth, farmer. Philip Ebanks, 20th of July 1912, 3 Florence Grove, Birmingham, farmer. Raphael MacDonald, 13.12.26, 36 Bebeca Road, Birmingham, number 174. Daphne Stewart, 12.10.1932, 126 Fellow Street, London, who was a student. Lecky, L-E-C-K-Y, Hill, 26.2.1926, so that's 100 years ago, who was a labourer, landed docked at Plymouth. Alton Seymour, 1st of June 1933, Maplin Street, London, carpenter. Barry Gordon, 20th of February 1932, went to West Bromwich, Staffordshire, it was a choffer. Alva Hutchinson, 13.2.25, a worker, Plymouth. Iselin Taylor, 1.1.1930, worker, Plymouth. Iselin is spelled E-I-S-Y-E-I-S-L-Y-N, and that's Gilbert Thompson, 26.4.1921, 7 Pattons Road, London, who was a butcher, Gilbert Thompson. Samuel March, 2.11.1924, don't know where he ended up, but he docked at Plymouth, who was a baker, number passenger 882. Winston Tugman, T-U-G-M-A-N, 13th of May 1932, he was a baker and he landed at Plymouth, passenger 123. So that is a list of passengers on the steamship or SS Auriga who docked at Plymouth on the 25th of March 1955. I remember a few years ago when I was on my honeymoon, me and my wife, we went whale watching, and did we see any whales? We didn't see one. But I remember my father, he told me that when he was on the ship coming to England, that they saw whales, they saw them blowing up the fountain, the water. So that's just a bit of useful information if you're interested in that generation that came to England or to the UK from Jamaica in the 50s, because I remember my father also told me that they called at Barbados as well, and that was about 1,000 miles from Jamaica, because I always thought that it would be very close, but it's quite far away. So I hope you found that interesting, and if you recognise any of those names that I read out from that list, get in touch, or if you're in touch with Tessa Sanderson, you can let her know about the ship her father come on. But thanks for joining me, and God bless. Bye.